Well, hello and welcome to the mixed team parallel competition here in the Porte du Soleil for the FIS Junior Alpine World Championships. We are specifically in Ligier for this one. We have the round of 16 coming your way in just a couple of minutes. The commentator is only that chap if you are watching in France. But Ed Drake taking you through the action here. And we will be getting underway in about 4 or so minutes. We've got 8 heats coming through this first round. The Brits go in the third heat. Plenty of very, very tight races to be scheduled here today. There you can see not the highest of conditions. Vertical drop only 116 metres, 22 turns. But it is going to be a very, very tight race. Not too much offset in the gates either, so it's going to mean that it is going to come at you thick and fast. And the format is very similar. It was the same actually to the race at the Olympic Games and World Cups, World Championships. It is 4 per race, 2 men and 2 women, and you get a point for defeating your individual opponent. And then if it's tied at 2 apiece, then it is the quickest men's run combined with the quickest females run, and that is how you will get the winner of each of the rounds. There's no second chances. It is all going to be just a shootout, straight shootout. There is no opportunity for redemption. And so, yeah, that's how it's going to stand. Well, there you go. Confirmation of the first round. The Swiss and the Belgians. Then the Finnish. Finns versus the Americans, then the Swedes versus the Brits, the French versus the Andorrans, Germany versus Czech, Austria versus Canada, and then Norway versus Slovakia, and then the last heat of all is going to be Italy versus Poland. And it is 4 individual rounds, and again it is a straight knockout. It is going to be a great one over in Ligier. Such a good hill, nice and even in terms of the aspect of the piece. The gates have been very, very specifically set in terms of making sure that they are even in terms of the distance and the offsets. Lots of lasers being used to try and make sure that it's even Stevens across all of the way down. So there you go. We are, what are we now? 2 minutes, just under 2 minutes away from the start of this one. Oh, there we are. The dusk starting to set in Ligier. Floodlights are on. Doesn't look that bright though, does it? So it is going to be the Belgian team versus the Swiss team. And first up on the left-hand side is the Belgian team. And it is Clementine Mans. And then she is up against Stephanie Grob of the Swiss team. Well, they should be under starters orders here. A couple of moments away. Bit of a delay already. We're half an hour behind schedule. Unfortunately, not sure what that was about. We haven't been told why that was the case. But here we go. Riders ready, racers ready. Into the gates. Mans versus Grob. Good start from both, ever so slightly ahead on the blue course, but here comes Grob back at it. Now has a slight advantage round the one and only banana in this 21 turn course, 22 gates individually. And it's out to nearly a gate. No answer at the moment for Mans, but it is Grob that is going to take this one. And so that is a 1-0 at this point to the Swiss team. And the times only come into effect if it's a tie, if it gets 2 victories apiece. We're swapping over, so now you will see the men's opportunity. It's the Swiss on the blue. Belgium's on the red. Zippert managed 5th in the Super G, so he's been on great form. And then Bauers of the Belgian team. Not Not too much to separate. Bowers definitely keeping in touch, but a slight advantage at the moment for Zippert. And now this is where Zippert is just managing to extend and pull away ever so slightly, but he's been kept honest by the Belgian here. It's going to go close, but it looks like Zippert's going to take it. Good closing 4 or 5 turns from Bowers, but Zippert gets it. And that is 2 to the Swiss. Van Puiveld and Huber next on course. Huber actually picked up a 5th place in the women's downhill. That's the lady on the left-hand side. Slightly better start for Switzerland. Oh, and very out of balance there from Van Puiveld. Huber, oh, being kept honest by the Belgian at the moment. It's pretty tight going into this last little pitch towards the finish. And Van Puiveld is definitely, too direct, pays for it. And that is a DNF. And that means Switzerland are going to go through because that is now 3 victories out of the 4 races. They will contest the last round, but it doesn't matter. Almeida versus the other Bowers brother. And this time Belgium on the left, Switzerland on the right. No pressure on De Almeida. He is already going through. So a bit of a recce run for the Swiss on this red course. And the Belgians won't be managing to go through. A bit of pride at stake here, though, for Switzerland. Won't want to go down to the Belgian, and he's not going to go very direct. Oh, cross-blocking those gates. Just about gets away with it. And that's a 4-0 to the Swiss team. The Belgians unable to get a victory on the board. And so that is the Belgians that go through. Those are not the right graphics. Sorry, we're having quite a few issues with the media team over at the World Champs. This is the next heat. This is the USA versus Finland. This is Liv Moritz for the USA versus Koskainen of the Finnish team. America on the red, Finland on the blue. Not too much to separate these two pushing out of the gate, and that was the wrong way around again as well. Sorry about the graphics. And America, slight advantage. Finland hot on their heels at the moment. Not too much to separate them at this point. Looks like the American just getting out in front, but it's very, very close. Oh, it's a tight race. Could come down to a bit of time down in the finish area, but hopefully going to jump straight back up to her feet. America taking the first race. Palmqvist and Kemppainen. Very tight out of the gate, barely anything to separate both races, getting good reaction straight out of that drop down gate. And it's smooth so far. America just ever so slightly out in front. Finland trying to keep them honest though. Oh, just getting away now. The American pulling through the gears here. And that's a very good end to that run. Palmqvist goes through, puts another win in the box for the American team. The Finns now really are up against it. They've got to secure the next 2 victories in these next 2 rounds. Henriksson versus Bocock. America on the left, Finland on the right. The Finns need to get a victory here. Under starters orders. The beeps are on. And the gate is down. Big pressure here for the Finnish team. On the red, they need the victory. If they don't get the victory, they're out already. America looking smooth. A bit of a groove already forming on the blue course. You can see that from the shadows. And not too much to separate, but the Americans have importantly got a lead. And it looks like Bocock is pulling away here. Oh, there's a big error. Just about managing to hang on. And that's enough to send the United States through. And good run from them. The Finns, unfortunately, not able to find the answer here. Back up to the top, Hallberg and Cooper Puckett. Let's see if the Finns can find a little bit of pride with this run. That's all that's at stake here. The Finns are already out, 3-0 to them so far. But can Hallberg put a victory on the board against the American Puckett? Yeah, Hallberg getting away. He's got half a gate or so over the American Puckett. Pushing really hard. Trying desperately to make up the time. And he's getting left behind a little bit as the American. Oh, he's in all sorts of trouble. And he's out, but it doesn't matter. Hallberg goes through with actually the quickest time of the whole run there. 22.57. So that was a quick old run. Shame that the team couldn't get it together. That race has already happened. We're on to heat 3 now. This is the Brits versus the Swede. And Gigi Gorange on the left-hand side. And then Cornelia Oland on the right. Let's see how the starts have gone. Ooh, pretty even Stevens at the moment. A lot of pushes going on there on the red course for the Swedes. Gorange choosing just to settle down into the carve early. But at the moment, Gorange has got some time to make up there. She's back on track now, isn't she? We know that these last few turns are very crucial and can be offset. At the moment, Swedish team got a little bit of an advantage. Gorange is coming tight, but misses out. Oland is victorious for the Swedish team by only a tenth of a second. But it's a crucial 1 to the Swedes. Next up, Dominic Shackleton and Lucas Kongsholm. Again, pressure, extra pressure on Dominic's shoulders here. Good start from the Brit. Looking like he's giving it a bit of extra pushing out of the start gate. Even Stevens again. The Brits on the red course. The Swedes on the right. Slight advantage for Dominic here. Oh, he's tripped up and that's going to make him go very direct. He's playing catch up. Oh, and it looks like Kongsholm is going to get it done here. Shackleton goes down. And it's a DNF against the Brit. So, oh, it's all the pressure now back at the top. Honor Bartlett next for the Brits. Has to get the job done here. Needs to record a victory for the Brits, or the Brits are going out at the first round here. There'll be a slight delay after the flags are replaced on the red course after Shackleton skied between the gates. There you can see a little bit of coursework going on. I'm sure they'll be very quick putting that back together. And right, we'll be going back up to the top. It is Backlund on the blue and Bartlett over on the red. The pressure all on the Brits. They need to get this one into the finish first if they have any chance at surviving here. Bartlett trying to get up to speed quickly. Oh, but she's lost her balance early on, and that gives the head start to Backlund. And Backlund now ahead by a gate. Bartlett playing catch up, but it's too little too late. And Bartlett is not going to be able to catch that one back up. And it is a victory to the Swedish team. It's 3-0 at the moment. Right, back up to the top again. Pride at stake here. Freddie Carrick-Smith, Emil Nyberg. That's the head-to-head. Freddie Carrick-Smith really wants to kick his championships off in a big way here. Just get a little victory under his belt, get to grips with these conditions, and then get ready to bring the fight and bring the fire to the technical competitions coming up over the next few days here. And Smith pushing very hard out of the gate. Not much to separate between them. Emil Nyberg and Freddie Carrick-Smith. Nothing to separate the two of those. Carrick-Smith on the blue course gets a slight advantage here. Oh, be careful because he's right on the heels. Oh, and precious too much. Carrick-Smith, really quick run there. 22.8. And that's near, what is that? The second quickest? It is the second quickest that we've seen down this course. So Freddie Carrick-Smith absolutely on form here. But the Brits are out 3-1. home nation of France versus Andorra. And it is June Brand for France on the red. And then Jordina Caminal Santore over on the blue. Ooh, a little bit late on pushing out of the gate there for the Andorran. And that gives the French team half a gate advantage already. And the French don't need that sort of opportunity of help. France out in front. Oh, the Andorran coming with some speed, but getting a tiny bit too direct. Shows that she's got some speed when she gets up to speed. Shows how important it is not to mess up your timing, pulling out of the start gate. Real shame there. Because Caminal Santore has got some speed. Didn't quite get the timing right out of that drop-down start gate. Leo Koppel of the French team versus Cornelia Guttart. And they've switched around. French on the blue. Andorra on the red.
Ok. C'est le G toi que j'ai là.
Right. The French 1-0 at the moment, 1 out of 1. Right, well, the French are expecting, and the French need to deliver here. They've been going very well. Yet to pick up a title in the individual competitions so far. Let's see if, as the mixed team, the French can get it done on home snow. As Koppel on the blue for France and Cornelia Guttart on the red course on the right-hand side. Slight advantage for the French team at the moment. Looking very balanced is Koppel. Slightly late for Cornelia Guttart as he tried to make up the gap, but couldn't. That's a very tidy looking run for Koppel. It's a pretty similar time. In fact, it's identical time to what a 100th slower than what we just saw from Freddie Carrick-Smith, just to put that into perspective. Annabelle Jaltat of the French team on the left-hand side, and Garcia Lafoz on the right for Andorra. Good start from the French. How good is it when we get out into the wider shot? Very good start from both races. Andorra, again, know they're up against it as they're 2-0 down. Need a big performance from Garcia Lafoz. They're not getting it because she's already out, just out of camera shot, which sees the French going to go through here. France are going to have a 3-0 advantage. And let's see if, again, looking for a little bit of pride salvaging for the Andorrans, as Alvar Calvo Santos is going to be on the blue course for the Andorrans, and then Leo Avocat Moilaz is on the red course. Avocat Moilaz. You can see there, 3 to the French, none to the Andorrans yet. Alvar on the blue course would dearly love to get a bit of a scalp here. Nothing to separate them so far. Just keep an eye on that groove on the blue course. And there's a little one forming on the red again. We're not even, we're barely halfway through this one. Oh, he's down as well. Pushed onto the heels and then just had to chuck the body weight inside. It's a 4-0 victory to the French team. Advocat Moilaz is chalking up another victory to the French. And it is a 4-0 victory there for the French team. Right, Germany versus Czech Republic. Semirakova on the left-hand side versus Grandinger on the red course. Grandinger and Semirakova. Just waiting to be under starters orders. Here we go. Hands to the handles. Tips will be pressed up against the front of that board. Timing about how when you try and pull simultaneously with the gate drop, that's the aim of the game. Slightly tripped up on the red course, but at the moment it's the Czech team that are ever so slightly in front. Not much to separate them by. Oh, and the Czech Republic getting one over on the Germans at this point. Oh, this is nice skiing. Oh, they're neck and neck now, coming towards the offset turns. Oh, the German team go down. Nicely held there from Semirakova. And the Czech team take round one. Grandinger knew that she was up against it. Had to chuck everything in and try and get a little bit of extra speed. Take a couple of risks. And Grandinger, just let's hope that she's all right. We just cut away from that a bit quick. Let's hope that the race interrupted tag is just whilst we get her off and out of the way. Whoa, the athletes told it looks like we might be a little while. Just seems like they're unclipping boots at the moment. So after 4 rounds, this is the 5th round. It's the Swiss. The Swiss beat the Belgians 4-0. The Americans beat the Finnish team 3-1. The Swedes beat the Brits 3-1, and the French was a 4-0 victory over Andorra. At the moment, it is 1-0 to the Czech team after 1 round, and we're just having a momentary break whilst we replace some of the timing gear that the crash took out. You can see the stake at the bottom broken off. They are designed to break. They should be. They normally are. Would assume that it's the same in this resort, in the same in Leger, because obviously you don't really want to be skiing into a wooden beam that is not a little weakened at snow level. So just a little bit of an interruption. We'll make sure the timing, because the timing could be crucial. If it goes 2-2, then it cuts back to times. The quickest run of one of your quickest male skiers' time versus your quickest female skiers' time. And those two are added together to see who will advance through. So times are crucial if it gets to 2 apiece. Still just waiting for the course to be, the timing to be repaired, and nice to see the staff getting out on the slope just to try and make sure that they are getting it ready nice and even, take advantage of the fact that we have got an enforced break with the timing issues.
Faut arrêter de s'appuyer sur l'échafaudage, s'il vous plaît.
Still just getting the timing sorted again, and they will probably run a forerunner down just to make sure that everything is running and that they're recording times, because they can't afford to, well, they potentially can't afford to have a no time recorded. Load of the ESF workers down, making sure they do some good sliding, getting everything ready. There you can see them hard at work, getting the time all reconnected, hoping that there isn't too much further delay. We're already, what are we, nearly an hour behind, well not an hour, 40 minutes or so behind schedule. We started half an hour late, and then we've had a good 10 minutes or so whilst we're waiting for these races to be put back together. The French team getting ready for their next racer. No bib on that man's shoulders at the moment, so we'll see. Look at you, hard at work, getting the plugs back in. Still waiting, and hopefully this is a good sign as the racers look like they're back in their skis. Trying to keep calm, keep the legs supple, keep everything moving. Well, good sign. Here we go. Racers back in the start gate. This is Lucas Kraus against Aldo Tomasek. And the Czech team are 1 to the good after that DNF from the German team. So Germany will be hoping to bounce back straight away and level this one up. Not too much to separate at the moment. Slight advantage for the German team on the blue course. And the Czech skier getting left behind as Germany turn the screw, put the hammer back down a bit. Oh, and Tomasek is out, hopefully avoiding the timing. He did avoid the timing, thankfully. So it is 1 apiece. Germany and Czech Republic share the spoils after 2 rounds. Trezbalova on the right-hand side and Bogner on the left. Oh, good start on the blue course for the German team. Slight advantage. It's only small, but there's only 21 turns down this course. And Bogner looks like just putting a little bit of moonlight between herself and her competitor as the Germans make it 2-1 at the moment. Ooh, and this is going to be tight. Let's see. Crucially, that run from Bogner is nearly 3/10 quicker than the same timed run from the other female competitor from the early round. So at the moment, if it's even Stevens, if the Czech team win, they've got to win by more than half a second. Anything less than half a second means that the Germans are going to go through. Germany on the red, Czech on the blue, Müller for the Czech team, and Palamaras on the red for the Germans. Tightest race we've seen so far. It's going down to the wire here. And again, crucially, good start from the German team. The Germans had a good run with Lucas Kraus's time. He put it 23-2-2 down. So it's under pressure. Oh, and this is getting exciting. It's getting interesting here as Müller is going to make it 2-2. So it's going to come down to the times. Oh, the Czechs even it up. But the Germans are going to go through here with a combined time of their two quickest skiers, 46.90. And the Czechs' combined time of their two fastest skiers was 0.2 slower. So that is how it plays out. Why it's so important that the timings work, and that is the Germans through after a 2-2 tie. Giesbrecht of Canada versus Hundegger of Austria. Canada versus Austria. Under starters orders here.
Come on, Kenny.
Ooh, slight trip up out of the start gate. Oh, the cameramen maybe already on the beers. Struggling to get to see them. Here we go. It's neck and neck at the moment. Not too much to separate them. A slight advantage at the moment for the Canadians, but that's going direct from them. Oh, it's tight. Nothing to separate these two. 24.08, and it's 9/100ths the difference. Tight old race, but Canada take the early victory. And then back up to the top, and it is Oscar Heine and Kurzes Knight. Kurzes Knight on the red course for the Canadian team. Well, a good start from the Canadians, and they've got themselves a little bit of an advantage. Caught the Austrians napping at the moment, and Oscar Heine is pushing really hard to try and get back in touch. Just about catching up, but he's still got work to do. Even Stevens now coming towards the finish. The Austrian just pushed onto the heels. That small mistake could prove costly. And it's Canada that make it 2 from 2. A little bit of an error-strewn run. So the time not the quickest from the Canadian perspective, but crucially for them, it is 2 to the good against the Austrians. So it's all or bust now for Team Austria. They need to win the next 2 rounds, and it is Canada of Estelle Martin on the red, and then Natalie Falk on the blue. Oh, absolute lightning start from the Austrians. Canada just left watching at that point, and she's given herself half a gate to try and claw back, and she's clawing it back, but Austria still crucially out in front at the moment. The Austrian leads the way. She needs to get this through the finish. The Canadians have got a 2-love victory. Oh, and Estelle is down. The Austrians take it. And crucially, in a quicker time, but only by 1/10 of a second. So the Austrians at the moment have got 1/10 of a second slight advantage, if you like, over the Canadian team in like for like. So in terms of the two women's rounds, it is Natalie Falk of the Austrians that is 1/10 of a second ahead of Giselle Brecht. So, but Canada, simple for them. It's just get to the finish first. Hopefully just a couple of bruises for Estelle Martin. She just taken her skis off. Looks like she's in a little bit of pain. There will be an alternative at the top in terms of the Canadian teams. You've got an alternative, so if you do have an injury, you can still carry on. But Estelle Martin going down and picking up a bit of a knock. Now, I doubt we're going to send them until she's out of the finish area, so yet more delays here. Ooh, pressure definitely on the Austrian shoulders of Jakob Eisner. He's going up against Kyle Blanford. The Austrians haven't had a championship to remember either. Still yet to take a title. And just looking back over some of the results, Austria took runner-up in the women's Super G. They were to be seen on the men's Super G. They took gold for the downhill with Victoria Oliver from bib 30. Really came out of nowhere. Didn't feature at all in the top 5 of the men's downhill competition. Hopefully we'll be getting underway shortly. Still waiting for Estelle Martin to be okay enough to be cleared out of the finish area. And I think we are back at the top and under starters orders. Here we go. All the pressure on the Austrian team's shoulders. They need a victory. And even out of the start gate, lots of aggression from both races. And the Canadians with a tiny, tiny advantage at this point. And the pressure is all on here. Blanford pulling away slightly from the Austrian team, looking to make it 3-1. Oh, he's putting some space between him and the Austrians. The Austrian getting all twisted up. It is going to be the Canadians that go through and have defeated Austria. Austria are out. What a good ski that is. Kept his composure, kept his head. Even with that delay, good skiing from him as well. Right, here we go. Heat number 7 in the round of 16s. Jelum versus Sorbova. Sorbova is Slovakian and Jelum is Norwegian.
Ready? Ready? Attention!
Slight advantage for the Reds, slight advantage for the Norwegians at this point, just pushing out a tiny bit of an extra advantage. Slovakia not giving up, taking it very direct as well. Nice and composed skiing, or slightly on the heels again from the Slovakian team. Very tidy run from the Norwegians. Jelum makes it 1-0 over the Slovakian team. Back to the top for round number 2. It is Novacek on the right-hand side and Herland on the left. 1 to the good for the Norwegians. coursework going on. Guys out there with sliding teams and making sure all the gates are in good. Just a little bit of a delay, taking the time to get through this one.
Ce match entre la Slovaquie et la Norvège.
Hopefully the race is getting pulled into the gate quite soon, as not too sure what the delay is going on here, because the course all seems to be set. The French taking their time at getting this one run. There we go. Sticking in a couple of bits of wood as the snow conditions are a little bit warmer. Need to just stick in these little triangular pieces. It just helps get the gate to grip into the ground. But it's taken them a long time to get it done. It's just slow work here. Looks like it's how many people does it take to screw in a gate joke going on. They have to make sure that triangular piece of wood that they use to get a little wedgy piece in there has to be sunk below the top level of the snow again, just in case anybody falls.
Maintenant ça réagit là-bas, mais ici ça réagit plus. Mais bon, ça y est, c'est calme-toi. Ah ouais, on a un bateau qui a fait ce trajet. Est-ce qu'il prend un point celui-là? Non, non, il faut sortir de la raquette arrivée par contre. On voit qu'il est concentré le monsieur. Je sais pas qui est-ce qu'il y a au départ, mais ça rigole pas. Ah, c'est un junior multiplié par 10. Allez, on a vu pour l'instant.
Well, here we go, back underway. Races under starters' orders. Just to remind you, Norway are 1 to the good out of the 4 heats. This is the second of those 4. And it is a good start there. Herland on the blue course and Novacek on the red course. Whoa, very tidy skiing from Herland here. Some very nice transitions in those turns, getting good purchase, and even with this snow surface that's cutting up. And Norway make it 2-0. Good skiing there from Jons Braten Herland. Back up to the top, heat 3. This is where the pressure starts to form, starts to build, because the Slovakians need 2 victories in a row. The Norwegians are on the blue course, and it is Madeline Sylvester Davik and then Ella Rabanova. And again, just a little bit slow getting back up to the top. Apologies for the pace of this one, but the Norwegians are... Oh, looks like we have fallen asleep slightly, because it's coming towards the bottom here. And Norway make it 3. And there you go, qualify through to the next round. Slovakia fail to put on a result just yet. We've still got 1 race left to go. And the salt going down, you can see. Coursework, some salt. Just now waiting for the last round. Drone just coming into shot there. The top, lots of coursework, lots of slipping, gates being put back into place. So next up, the Norwegians are going to be on the red course with Hans Graal Madsen, and then Slovakia are on the blue with Timo Botka. This again, just it can't affect the result here. The Norwegians are definitely going through, but put himself down the bottom first. It'll feel pretty good getting one over on the Norwegians. They've looked very, very quick, putting down some really quick times as well. More of those little wedges going in the gates. You can see that on the right-hand side. Well, I can see from my computer screen it looks like the next round has started. But again, I haven't been able to make it up to the top with our camera team. So I think we're about to see them come over the ridge here. Here we are, there you go. The camera team, unfortunately, seem to be sleeping a little bit. Oh, looks like Slovakia are pushing really hard, and it is the Norwegians, though, that go through, and they've made it 4 wins in a row. That's a shame, because Botka was skiing very, very quickly there. Well, there you go. It is that is our penultimate heat done and dusted. 4-0 victory for Norway over Slovakia. And we should be heading back up to the top. Hopefully these delays won't keep happening between every run. Otherwise it'll be midnight by the time we finish this one. And Italy are going up against Poland to see who is going to advance through to the quarter-finals. Norwegians just doing a little bit of a debrief. So it is going to be the Italians on the red course with Colombe, and it is the Poles on the blue course of Bando. And it looks like they're already underway. Again, I'm not sure what's going on with the cameras here. Apologies for this, as we don't seem to be able to be moving out of... Here we go. They're back on board. They are paying attention. And Italy on the red. Oh, it's going close. Kept honest by Bando there, but it's Italy that pick up the first point against their name. Back up to the top. Here we go. Everybody's back on board now. And the Italians have a 1-0 lead at the moment. It is Pisato on the blue and Galsukova. On the red. Poland on the red. Italy on the blue. Here we go. Good start from Poland. Slight head start, slight lead. As Poland are really flying at this point. Italy trying to catch back up. It's even Stevens neck and neck at this point. Nothing to separate these two. The Italians coming back at the poles. Oh, Poland go down. That's a real shame because had a great opportunity to even it up here. Pisato goes through first, and that is a 2-0 lead for Italy. You can see 2 to Italy, none to Poland at the moment. Karoli and Ziba. Poland need this win. And the starters' orders here. Italy have a 2-0 victory. So that lady on screen needs a big run here. Needs to take the point. Needs to take the victory over the Italian team here. Oh, she's got her work cut out. Italy just pulling away ever so slightly. Nice and tight in those tuck positions, trying to stay low. But Italy now putting a decent gap between them. Italy looking to try and make it 3 out of 3. And they will make it 3 out of 3. Another DNF from the Polish team. And that is the Italians going through. Let's see if Poland can grab one here. Zlag and Sarako in the gate. Slight advantage out of the gate for the Polish team as they look to try and record one victory out of these 4 rounds. And Sarako looking to try and shut the door and make it all about the Italians. It's very, very tight. This is nice, aggressive racing from both athletes. Oh, the Italian putting the wrist down and going down. And it doesn't matter. Really good skiing there from the Polish team. But it is a 3-1 victory to the Italians. There we go then, back up, and it is time for the quarterfinals. The first heat of the quarterfinals, and it is the Swiss versus the Americans. America on the blue with Moritz, Swiss on the red with Grob. Under starters orders then, as pressure starts to mount. Heart rate goes up. Oh, the start's pretty even, Stevens. Slight, ever so slight advantage on the blue course for the American team as Moritz got out of the gate really quickly. Now the American just pulling ahead ever so slightly. Oh, and staying on top of things here, the Swiss just pushed onto the heels, and a really tidy run from Liv Moritz, giving the Americans 1 to the good. As they are now, that was a very quick run as well. Good time from her, back up to the top. Palmqvist for the United States, and Zippert for the Swiss. Zippert went well in the Super G. It was 5th, narrowly missed. It was a very stacked out programme. Let's see if Palmqvist can do anything about the Swiss racers. The Americans, 1 in front. After a great ski from Moritz, and it's very, very even at the moment. Oh, look at this. Nothing to separate the two of them. One's going for the tuck. The Swiss racer looking to try and stay low and dynamic out of the breeze, whereas the American was just standing a bit taller. Oh, it's going to go close. Very tight. And that is a win for Zippert. And that evens it all up. 1 apiece at this point. Back up to the top. Second of the 2 women. Third heat here. Even Stevens. Huber for the Swiss. Bocock for the Americans. Red lights indicate we're ready to go here. Oh, again, very tight start from both of them. Very, very even. Slight advantage on the blue at the moment. Just eking out a tiny bit extra. This is going to go tight. Oh, very quick from both racers. Oh, it's going round down to the wire. Oh! Good skiing from Huger. Bocock was in all sorts of trouble, but got herself out of it and managed to get through to the finish line. But it is now 2-1 to the Swiss. The first of those 2 heats for the women's competition was a tiny, tiny bit slower. Important run there from the Swiss racer Huber. 2-1 to the Swiss team. The last one, Delamida. For the Swiss team on the red and Puckett on the blue. Puckett has to win this one, and he has to go quick as well. He has to be quicker than we saw Zipper from the American team. It's good skiing from Puckett at the moment. He looks like he's going to make it 2-2, but how quick can he be? Can he be quick enough to get the Americans through here? It's going to be all about the time. Oh, and the Americans managed to make it through by 0.04 of a second. Oh, that was a very, very tight race. Puckett was 0.1 of a second quicker than Zipper in terms of the men's side of things. And that was the difference. Oh, very, very tight. And the Americans are through here after a 2-2 draw. First through to the semi-finals is Team USA. Who's going to join them? Who are the Americans going to be battling with? It's France or Sweden, Brand and Öland, the first of the 4 competitors. Snow just giving away slightly. You can see that the groove is forming here, but the teams are out on the snow. It's a very, very quick run so far from the French team. Out in front, looks like Team France are going to get this one done in the first round, but Öland coming with some speed late on, but because she was going so direct, it's a DNF, that counts as. And so Brand, for the French team, takes victory in the first round. Next up for the French team over on the red course, Leo Koppel versus Lucas Kongtolm on the blue. French are one ahead here. Sweden looking to bounce back immediately. Tight out of the gate, was right on the limit there, wasn't he, the Frenchman? The French have got the early lead. Kongsom has got to play catch up, and he's doing exactly that. Look how low he is in his tuck position. The French working the ski really hard, barely anything to separate them, but a slight advantage at the moment. Now on to the blue course. Kongsom has caught up. Oh, this is going straight from the Frenchman. Who's taking it? Oh, the Swedes even it up. Whoa, that was a tight race. Only 0.03 of a second separating the two of them. Super important, those 0.03, because that is Kongsom making it 1 apiece. Lisa Backlund next on course for the Swedish team against Annabelle Jala of the French team. Ooh, even Stevens. Just course repair going on, just a little bit of work yet again going on. It is because it's a bit warmer out there. You can see the snow just tracking out every time somebody skis down. Here we go then. It is 1 apiece. Let's see who's going to take the lead and take this single point victory on this one. Nothing to separate the two of these. The Swede ever so slightly in front, but nothing to separate. And Sweden just edging out a little bit over the French team. Looks like barring catastrophe for the Swedes. Oh, that was close though. And nearly coming down. But Sweden make it 2-1. And pressure onto the French team. And let's see what the time difference is there. Where between the two runs, that was 1/10 of a second, 0.09 of a second quicker was the Swede on that run than Brand was on the first in the correlating women's race. Right, there you go. There's the connotations, and they're putting some pictures on the screen. That's what needs to happen. This is how the French team are going to make it through. The French need the victory. That is first and foremost. Nyberg versus Advocat Moiser. And who's got the jump on this one? French on the blue course. Oh, and here we go. This is oh so tight. Oh, nothing to separate these two. Coming over onto the brow of the hill. We know that these turns through to the finish can prove difficult as Nyberg, all sorts of crazy. And he's taken out the timing, so we're in for another delay. And that is a victory for the Swedish team by only 0.03 of a second. And I said about those 0.03 of a second being super important for the Swedish team, because that was the difference. The Swedes go through 2-2 against the French, but the time difference means that it is a victory, and the Swedes will advance through to the semi-finals. That was a good old race, but we are going to be a little wait here because more timing needs to be fixed at the bottom. And as soon as we'll bring you some racing, I'll be back. But we are in for a bit of a delay here.
Ça se fait cash. Ah, ça va être génial. Ils sont sortis. Ah, ça va être génial. Alors, les... Exactement, mon bon Sergio, c'est ça. En tout cas, on se régale du spectacle et ça va continuer comme ça. Il nous reste encore 2 quarts de finale.
Et si on va aller comme ça jusqu'à la finale et la remise des prix. Alors on en voit déjà avec les écrans supplémentaires, ça ne pas pas cher. Ah oui, bah, on joue à chaque fois, ça fait
Well, we've been witness to some tight racing so far as we wait for our third of the quarterfinals after that crash early on. Just to bring you up to date with how everything has played out so far. The Swiss beat the Belgians 4-0 in the opening heat in the round of 16. Then the Americans took it to the Finns, beating them 3-1. The Swedes beat the Brits 3-1. Now, it was a good old race. Freddie Carrick-Smith skiing very quickly, put himself in there with the mix. He's had a quick time against everybody else in terms of his time from top to bottom versus the other time of the men's races. So he's put himself in the mix. Then the French beat the Andorrans 4-0. The Germans narrowly beat the Czech team It was 2-2, but it came down to the wire. It came down to times, and Germany took the win. Then the Austrians got defeated 3-1. They lost out to the Canadians. Good skiing from the Canadians. They look very quick there tonight. Slovakia, no answer against the Norwegians, losing 4-0. And the Italians beat the Polish team 3-1. And then in the quarterfinals, it was a tight old race for heat number one, for quarterfinal number one. The Americans and the Swiss, they made it 2 apiece, but the Americans, by 400ths of a second, made it through in that time critical section. And then in heat 2, which we've just seen the end of, it was the Swedes 2, the French 2, and the Swedes made it through by a narrow margin of only 300ths of a second. So far, these heats in the quarterfinals have been super, super tight. The snow conditions are a little soft, but the course workers have been very, very busy getting out and on the snow. They've been putting in the little wedges to try and help make sure the gates don't fly out of the ground. And plenty of ESF workers, as well as other course crew, sliding, trying to make sure everything stays smooth. They've been putting a lot of salt down on again to try and make sure that it holds up. You can see them trying to make sure all of the timing is back in the right place, all the beams are lined up. It's got to be 100% accurate, because we've just seen the 2 quarterfinals separated. The first one where the Swiss lost by 400ths, and then this one where we just see the French lost by 300ths. So the timing is super crucial that it's working. Not doing it on the old backup time, the old stopwatch days. Well, that's a good sign. Them all leaving the bottom there to make, hopefully that means that the course is going to be ready to rumble pretty soon. They will be double checking the timing, will be opening the beam at the top, and then somebody will ski through at the bottom again to make sure that everything is all lined up and ready to go. And heat 3 is going to be Germany versus Canada. The first semi-final is all set, with the Americans going to go up against the Swedes. That's semi-final number 1, and we are just a couple of moments, hopefully we'll be coming to you shortly for the 3rd quarterfinal. Here we go. The race is getting into the gates. Boots being buckled, hand heights being adjusted on the gates, and then it is going to be Charlotte Grandinger and Kendra Giesbrecht for the Canadian team. There's Kendra.
Come on, Kenny.
Now they're under starter's orders already. Here we go. Germany on the red. Canada on the blue. Slight advantage. Tiny bit ahead for the Canadians at the moment. Just about keeping her nose in front. Now out to a quarter of a gate or so, really tiny skiing, but we know that this the end of this run is so crucial to get right, because the minute you push onto the heels, the distance between the gates is not very much, and that's enough for Canada to take the first victory by 4500ths of a second. Kendra chalks one up in the W column for the Canadians. Back up to the top, Kraus versus Kurtz Knight. Germany blue, Canada red.
Come on, Johnny!
Again, a good start from the Canadians. Working the ski really hard, trying to put some pressure down onto the snow, but the German goes down. That's a 2-0 lead for the Canadians. He was working so much up and down, you could see that almost coming. He was desperately trying to put pressure into the ski. Just didn't quite get the timing right of his press. And that leaves the Germans up against it. Both of the previous quarterfinals have been 2-2 and separated by only a few hundredths of a second. And that's what the Germans will need to do here if they want to advance through to the semi-finals. Into the gate here, Bogner of Germany, ready, raring to go. Look at her, chomping at the bit to get on with it. On the blue, Estelle Martin of Canada. She was the one that went down in the finish of the round of 16 and not yet in the start gate. So, not sure what's going to go on here. It looks like Estelle Martin, from the computer screen here, says that she is going to be a DNS. She's going to be a did not start. So, down to one female skier at the moment. So this is going to be a victory for the Germans to even up and make it 2-1. But the Germans going to have to push it because could come down to time, so she can't just ski away from top to bottom. Bogner's got to put down a flyer against nobody. 23.90. Importantly, that is just over 0.2 quicker than the Canadian Kendra that went down first. So that is a big plus for the Germans, and it gives them a real opportunity of going through. There you go, win criteria. Germans have got to finish first and be faster than 23.5. That is very possible. The quickest runs we've seen down here are under 23 seconds. So basically, the Germans have got to win here. Germany on the red, Canada on the blue at the moment. Nothing to separate the two of them. Blanford for Canada, just edging in front as well. He went well in the Super G, did Blanford. Oh, and it's close. Here we go. Nothing to separate them. Oh, 300ths again. But this time, it's not 300ths in terms of total time. It's 300ths to make it victory. And Germany lose that one 3-1. Canada are through. 300ths the other way. And it would have been the Germans that were going through, because both of those runs were easily quick enough to get the right time for them to get through. So everything coming down to the hundredths here. And it is Canada that book themselves a spot in the semi-finals. Who's going to join them? Who's they going to be up against? It is Norway versus Italy. Jellem on the red, Colombe on the blue. This is going to be a tight old race. Both of these two have been skiing very well so far. The Italians picked up victory for the men in the Super G, and they'll be feeling confident. At the moment, the Italians out in front ever so slightly, but they're going very, very direct at these last few turns. Oh, right on their inside skis is Jellem. Oh, Colombe takes it by only 0.05 of a second. Not a bad time either. 23.64. That's pretty quick. 23.64 is the second quickest, the third quickest time that we've seen so far from a woman on this hill. So shows you how tight that racing was. But two quick times, importantly for Norway, only 0.05 behind. That could play its own part. Italy one to the good, Herland and Pisato. Norway on the blue, Italy on the red. More course repairs, more work being done on the slope to try and get everything together. Racers in the gate, here we go. Norway desperate to try and even this one up straight away. Barely anything, only 0.05 separated the first round, but that importantly went to the Italians. Good start on the blue for Team Norway. They've already out to half a gate in front. Pisato has got a lot of work to do as Herland's absolutely flying here, moving away, finding himself with a big lead. But again, we know that he can't afford. It's not just about getting across the line first, it's how quick you could be. That's a pretty quick run, 22.8. And that is even Stevens now. Back to square one. But 2 quick times from the Norwegians. Even though the Norwegians didn't win that opening round, puts them in a good position if this goes down to a two-apiece victory. Sylvester Davik of Norway and Karoli are next in the gate. Nothing to separate them really here. You can see Team Norway just trying to ski inside the rut on a few of these, getting her feet very close to the base of the gates. Oh, and that's a slight advantage here for the Norwegian team, but the Italians coming back at them. Oh, getting pitched into the air. Nothing to separate them, but a slight victory there. And how quick was the time? Not quick enough. But Norway, 2 to the right side of things at the moment, but that wasn't as quick as the Italian was in the first round. So 22.8, that's what's needed. So only just a tiny bit slower than what Herland was able to do for the Norwegians. Italy must win here, and they've got to go pretty quick. Pressure's all on the shoulders of Sarako. Norway on the red, Italy on the blue. Italy must win. They trail 2-1 here. Good turns in the middle from both races, but it looks like the Italians are ever so slightly ahead. Oh, Team Italy putting the pressure on, but he's pitched over onto the front. He's going too direct. Norway will go through 3-1 here. And that's a shame because Eduardo Saracho was in front. And there you go. Well, now we have our 2 semi-finals. Back to the top for the first of the semi-finals. It is USA versus Sweden. Both teams will go back up to the top because we will have a small final to separate the 2 losers of the semi-finals. So we'll have a big final and a small final to decide the medals. But it is America versus Sweden. Liv Moritz of Team USA on the red and Cornelia Oland of Sweden on the blue. And the starters' orders as we get ready. It's good that they're chucking them out of the gate quick. We've got some time to make up. Races are ready. The officials are ready. Semi-final number 1, USA versus Sweden. Good start from both races. Nothing to separate the 2 of them. Slight advantage now after the pushes on the blue for the Swedes. Moritz playing catch-up. About a quarter of a gate at the moment. Oh, but this is really good skiing. Oland just eking it out, getting solidly over her outside skis. Carrying some really good speed. Time's pretty good as well, 23.58. Moritz couldn't quite stick with her there. And 1-0 to Sweden. Moritz living very dangerously, managing just to stay inside the track. Back up to the top. Kongsholm from Sweden versus Palmqvist on the blue. Palmqvist, part of the US team. They've been going so well so far this evening. They want to bounce back straight away. Sweden have 1 point. Good start from the American. Slight advantage on the blue. Hands glued into that tuck position again. Look how hard he's working the ski. Nice and early in the turn. Palmqvist going very direct here. Oh, living dangerously as the American. Oh, is he going to make it? He somehow made it. How did he get down that one? 22.8 is a pretty quick time as well. There or thereabouts with the quickest run that we've seen down there. Did he get the right side? It looked like his skis did make it the right side. The flag stays intact, so he did go the right side of the gate. 1 apiece now. Emil Nieberg and Cooper Puckett. Next, back in. Don't think those are the 2 right ones. I think this is actually Bocock and Backlund. It is. We haven't gone out of order. It is the second of the females race. It is Elizabeth Bocock on the blue for the United States and Lisa Backlund of the Swedish team on the red. One apiece at the moment. The US team got a slight advantage at the moment, coming towards the halfway spot. Now over inside the finish. Oh, what a narrow escape that is for the Swedes. And that looked like a victory on the blue there for Bocock. Bocock so close to going down. Nearly allowed Backlund to get in there, but that is decent work there. The time pretty even. Only 600 separating the two women's times. So there you go. Win criteria. The Swedes have got to go. And that is not Emil Nyberg. Yes, on the blue. Needs to be faster than 22.87. Palmqvist was just 22.81. So you're going to have to go some. USA on the red. Sweden on the blue. Sweden need this victory and got to ski quick as well. Here comes the Swedish team. Oh, and Nyberg is flying down here. Oh, another late line, but it's so close. Oh, and look how quick he was there. 22.74. The Swedes get away with that one. And they are through to the big final to shoot out for gold and silver here. Oh, Puckett came close and he was right on track, but couldn't quite deal with the pressure from the skis. And that is a tight old race. And that is the Swedes going through. 46.32 their time. That takes them through. Just to let you know, is that the quickest combined time that we've seen go through? I think it... the Swedes 36 on that run. Yeah, the Swedes absolutely flying. They were 100th different between them in those two rounds. What a tight old race this is turning out to be. The Swedish team are through to the big final. USA drop down to the small final and they will be in the third, fourth place playoff. Back up to the top, it's going to be Canada versus Norway. North America going well again here. But who is going to join the Swedes in the big final and shoot out for gold? We are just a little bit on delay again. Couple of moments, hopefully not too long. The races will be ready to go. A little bit of extra shoveling going on. Course actually has held up pretty well considering all the racing that's going down on it, so course workers doing very well to make sure that the snow is relatively even. I think we've seen a similar sort of victories from both sides, but the pressure through the turns right at the end when the speed is high, and it's not easy out there, that is for sure. The best of the junior races on the planet are being tested and the battling has been fierce. And we're into the second of the two semi-finals. Let's see, hopefully, as we spin back round, hopefully to the top, because we shouldn't be too far away from getting the rest of this semi-final run completed. Some casual work going on in the course, so he's not in a rush to get that done, so still obviously on hold. Well, the Swedish fans are going to be happy as they are going to contest the gold and silver. But is it going to be fellow Scandinavians Norway, or can Canada get in there? Can't see too much work going on the course. Let's hope that we are only a few moments away from the second of these two semi-finals. all going down very well. A couple of big crashes towards the bottom. We've had some delays due to the timing being taken out. Had one injury where we saw Estelle Martin of the Canadian team sit it out, not race in the quarterfinal. So interesting to see whether she comes back and is able to race the finals. It just puts a bit of extra pressure. You don't need all four if you are going to walk away with the victory here. So the Canadians coming through that quarter-final, a skier down. As we take a look back at some of the highlights. Some very, very tight racing. A lot of these rounds have been separated by the hundredths. I think this is us back to being live. And hopefully, therefore, no work being done on the bottom. And what's going on in that mid part either. Norwegian team just staying loose and limber and ready. A little bit on delay as we're waiting to get this race done. Not too cold here in the Port du Soleil. We are over in Leger, which is adjacent to Morzine and Avoriaz. A lot of speed races were happening over in Châtel, which obviously you can ski to within the Port du Soleil. But now we've moved round to this part of the Port du Soleil Valley. We're in Morzine for the men's slalom tomorrow. Not a lot of work happening on the top either, so your guess is as good as mine as to why we haven't got this second semi-final away. Getting no information through either, so we are just a little bit in limbo, as waiting to find out what the delay is, waiting to find out what's going on here, bringing you up to date again how we got here. That's the quarterfinals where the United States beat the Swiss, and then they just lost out to the Swedes in that first semi-final. Canada going through, a skier down against Germany, but still managing to get it done. Norway narrowly through against the Italians, only 300 separating those two as the Norwegians advanced through to the semi-finals. You have to say, in theory, no one's working on the timing either, so deductions may be that we're just waiting to find out what's going on with Estelle Martin. She didn't start. Seeing what's happening. I wonder if we get any information, we'll let you know. We're not holding our breath.
Two minutes.
2 minutes to start. That's a good sign. Well, who is going to join the Swedes in the big final? Who is going to have to take on the Americans in the small? We are a couple of moments now, hopefully, away from getting this one done. We had a 2-minute warning about a minute ago, so should be ready and rating and raring to go as the fans are in good spirits in the finish area. When we have had the racing, it's been pretty tight. Just quite a few delays here this evening. The Haute-Savoie region has put on some good racing. It hasn't been the coldest, so they've had their work cut out to get these races off and done with a decent level of fairness. And I have to say, the speed races have gone off very, very well. Tonight's race has been good as well from a snow perspective. Very good work done. Right, here we go then. Canada versus Norway. Canada on the blue. Sorry, Canada on the red and the Norwegians on the blue. A better start for the blue course, Norway with a slight advantage here. Canada playing catch up early on. Jellum is just sneaking away, but that's a big error. Has she let her rival in? No, she hasn't, and that is going to be a 1-0. That's going in the Norwegians column. Little mistake, though. Maybe puts the pressure on the other female competitor from the Norwegian team, because again it could come down to times, and that wasn't the quickest that we've seen on the women's side. Back up to the top. Canada hoping to strike straight away. Herland versus Kurtzer Knight, and Herland has been on some form here. Norwegians, more young talent has been on show at these championships. Even Stevens from these two right out of the gate. You've got the Canadian very, very low, trying his stay aerodynamic. Oh, and he's getting the march on Herland here. Canada looking to even up the odds, even up the scores here. Herland going very direct, but it's going to be Canada that take that one. 22.84 is pretty quick as well. No slouch there from the Canadian. One apiece at the halfway point. You can see it's just getting tight down the bottom, and if you're really not on the front of those skis, makes it really difficult. And we're back up to the top, and again we're still not seeing Estelle Martin, so it is going to be Norway that will take the next point, but again it's down to time. So pressure on Sylvester Davik to put down a quick run with nobody next to her. How's her intensity able to be? Obviously, normally ski racing, you don't have somebody next to you, so you'd appreciate the fact that she should be able to put this down without having to have somebody breathing down her neck, but a slightly different challenge here for Norway. So, Norway about to make it 2-1, but how quick's the time? Ooh, not quick enough. It'll be the Norwegians' time from the first run that will be the one that counts, if we manage to make this 2 from 2. 2-2 even. Right, last racer now. Blanford versus Graal Madsen. Madsen is the Norwegian. He'll be on the blue. And there you go. That is a hugely quick time. That would be the quickest of the night if we can see that. 22.6 is the target time that Blanford needs to do. And he's gone out of the gate like a rocket. A really good start, but he's going to have the quickest run that we've seen all night long and take the lead and take the win if he wants to get in. Let's see, but at the moment the Norwegian is out in front, and Norway look like they're going to get through here, as that's a quick time in itself. Look at that, 22.72 is a quick old time, and so it is going to be a Scandinavian affair in the big final. Sweden versus Norway, 3-1 to the Norwegian team. Canada pushing hard, trying his hardest, wasn't he, Blanford? He was really up against it, really was. And that means that it is going to be, yes, Scandinavian affair in the final. Sweden versus Norway, the small final, battling it out for the podium. The final podium spot is going to be a North American battle. Canada versus the United States of America. There will be a small delay because Canada, having only just competed, need to get themselves back around to the top for this third, fourth place playoff. All that course repair just going on whilst the racers are making their way back around to the top. They'll be going as quickly as possible. It looks like they'll be taking that Pommer in the background. And there you go, confirmation of the big final, the Norwegians versus Sweden. But the small final will be who gets underway first, and it'll be the Canadians and the Americans. That's going to be the first race that we're going to see. Well, it's been a busy old few days here. Started with the downhill competition on Tuesday. Downhill and Super G, the 2 speed events. And then we have tomorrow, it is women's giant slalom from Saint-Jean-d'Eau. And the men are racing slalom in Morzine. And then on Saturday, it's the men's giant slalom in Saint-Jean-d'Eau and the women's slalom up in Avoria. And it is going to be a great end. The women's slalom up in Avoria should be pretty good. It'll be much, much colder down. Morzine is quite a bit lower. It's pretty green, but down the Plene they've been working really hard. And it will be a salted snow surface, so hopefully we will see some very, very good work in terms of course prep. It is going to be a night slalom event. First run will be, well, mid-afternoon, which again, timing-wise, not great in terms of pretty warm part of the day, but let's hope that means that we'll get some extra salt on there, and hopefully that will help with that snow surface. The fans wait patiently. We're waiting patiently for the Americans and the Canadians to get themselves into the start gate. Well, we're still just waiting to see if or how long it is until we get underway. It's the small final first, so Canada and the United States of America are going to battle. US managed to finish in 5th in last year's race. Canada could only manage 10th, so they've made some big improvements. Last year's World Championship team event victory was to the Swedish team, and interestingly, it's the exact same people. So last year, it was won by Sweden with the same racers that they have in this competition this season. They beat the Italians in the final, and then Norway ended up in 3rd place, defeating the Swedes. So, defeating the Swiss, excuse me. So it was Sweden, Italy, Norway, the 1, 2, 3, and the Swedes are fielding the exact same team. So obviously their progression has been really good, and they're getting better and better and stronger and stronger. And let's see if they can make it 2 years Again, yeah, on the bounce.
On s'est régalé sur ce parallèle. On a vu de très très belles choses à l'occasion des rounds précédents et j'espère qu'on va vivre une belle petite finale et une belle finale derrière.
Right, well, hopefully we are getting some racers into the start gate because this small final, they should be back up to the top by now. Let's hope that the racers are all in place, ready to go. Don't forget the Canadians still be fielding 3 rather than 4 races after the injury for Estelle Martin that she picked up in the round of 16 right at the start of this evening's competition. Last bit of course prep as the racers in the final throes of being ready. Boots being cleaned, clips into the skis. Geisbrecht and Moritz. That's going to be the first round. The Americans on the red, Canadians on the blue. Into the start gate, we're ready to go. Here we go. The battle for third place. Who is going to be the unlucky team that walk away from this one without a medal? Great start from the American there, getting the jump on the Canadian team, but it's back as Even Stevens here. Nice and smooth, both of them staying low and aerodynamic. Slight advantage at the moment for the blue, which is the Canadian team. Canada pushing really hard, but we know how tight the bottom section is for both of these two courses. Oh, and Moritz, oh, so close to going down. Did well to stay upright. And that is a decent time as well. Canada take 1 point. Keep your eyes on the red here. Look how close. Oof. Just switching off ever so slightly. Nearly came a cropper there. Back up to top. Pumpist and Curtis Knight. USA on the blue, Canada on the red. Moving through. This is pretty tight, isn't it? Canada still skiing. If they are still skiing, we'll find out momentarily if they're still skiing with one skier down. Oh, Palmquist really quick. Oh, but that is a good finish. Oh, that is the quickest run we've seen all night. Palmquist 22.65. What a run that was. Really, really quick. And that has evened it up, and evened it up with a very, very quick run from the American. You can see the work that the skiers are doing to put their skis right in the top of this rut that's formed. It's been there for the majority of the evening. Elizabeth Bocock. And on her own yet again. So, Bocock. Racing nobody, but needs to put down a quick time here. Really does. Because at the moment, Moritz's time was 900ths of a second slower than the Canadians. So, and we just saw an absolute monster run from Palmquist. So, really, Bocock has to put down a flyer here. Lots of pressure on the American. This could be the make or break this run right here. Lots of pushes, big start, lots of aggression. Bocock, nice and aggressive again through these early turns, staying low and smooth. Ruts are formed, and she's getting in them nice and early. Really taking The direct line coming over this little breakover towards the finish area, really pushing hard. She knows that she needs a big quick run, and that is a quick run. That's a tenth quicker than the Canadian in terms of her time. So that is, she's given a teammate at the top, Cooper Puckett, a little bit of an extra buffer. 2-1 to the Americans. Blanford versus Puckett. Blanford needs to win, and he has to be... That's so fast. So fast that he needs to be. That would be... We've just seen the quickest run we've seen all night. Let's see if Cooper Puckett can find something special here. American on the red. Blanford of the Canadian team on the blue. And it's pretty tight. Nothing to really to separate them. And Blanford, Blanford's missed it anyway. United States are going to go through 3-1 and get the third place. That's the bronze medal. Heartbreak for Canada. They picked up the victory in the mixed team competition a couple of seasons ago on home snow in Panorama and couldn't find the speed to get the better of the Americans. So it is USA with the bronze medal. But here we go, the big shootout, the one that we've all been waiting for. It's an all-Scandinavian affair. Norway versus Sweden. Sweden looking to make it back-to-back mixed team victories. They won last season, beat the Italians in the final. They've got to get the better of their neighbours, Norway. And it's a good start from the Norwegians. That's Jellem versus Åland. Norway on the blue. Sweden over there on the red, and Jellem has a slight advantage. Norway with a quarter of a gate at the moment, but she's going very straight. Oh, they're bringing some speed on the lower few turns. Oh, Norway take a lead into that section with a very quick time as well, 23.35 when the pressure's on. That was a really tidy run. Åland was so close to getting back in touch. Paid for that slightly slow start. Norway, at the moment, are in the driving seat. This is going to be Lucas Kongtong of the Swedish team up against that man, Johns Bratton Herland. So Sweden on the blue, Norway on the red course. Riders getting into the gate. Here comes Herland. Kongsom versus Herland. Norway have the buffer of taking 1 point already. Good starts from both. Slightly better one from Kongsom on the blue. Sweden ever so slightly ahead. Barely anything between these two. Here we go now, over onto the steeper section where it does start to get offset. Sweden have a little bit of an advantage here. Nice and solid turns. Oh, Norway living dangerously. Kongsholm, super solid run from him. Decent time as well. Not the quickest we've seen tonight, but solid nonetheless. And that's back to all square. One apiece now. Good run from him. No fireworks, nothing crazy timing-wise. Didn't take too many risks, but enough to walk away with a point for the Swedes. Right. Lisa Backlund versus Sylvester Davik. Don't forget, this Swedish team all have a gold medal in this discipline from a year ago. It's the same team that was victorious 12 months ago. Let's see if they can do the job again in 2024. Slight advantage on the blue for Backlund. Sweden taking a tiny bit of an advantage at the moment. Oh, here we go. Sweden out in front. Commanding lead, but oh, look at how fast the Norwegian was over that hit. Oh, Norway bringing the speed right across the finish line. What a brilliant final 4 or 5 turns that was. That was the difference there, because Backlund had the advantage, but Sylvester Davik's final 4 or 5 turns. Keep an eye on the red course here. Whoa, such on the limit skiing. Bang! And that is a point to the Norwegians. They've got one hand on the trophy with a very, very quick run as well. That's a quicker run than we've just seen. So, how are we getting on? Norway 2, Sweden 1. Win criteria. There you go. Just got to get across the line first. Pretty sure there'll be a time put in there as well. But Emil Nyberg has to win. And Graal Madison was going to do his best to stop him. The last 2 races in the gate. All the pressure on these 2 shoulders. Can Norway defeat the reigning champions and the mixed team competition? Here we are, Leger the scene. Who's going to get it done? The Swedes with a good start over on the red course. Very, very tight. Still pushing hard. Norway desperately trying to hang on and stay in touch. And they're back level. Norway pushing through. If anything, now have the slight advantage coming over in towards the finish area. He's going very direct. Oh, so Norway are going to take this. Great run from the Norwegians, and they are the 2024 mixed parallel champions. Really good skiing and a quick run to boot. The Swedes couldn't back up the victory from 12 months ago, but do secure a silver medal. And they're joined on the podium by Team USA. Canada missing out, but what a good run that was. The 2 Scandinavian teams on top form, but it's Norway that come out on top. And it was such a tight race. Barely anything to separate the 2 of them. Really good. Just getting caught out of position a couple of times, but cool heads were kept. And this was the difference. Keep an eye on that red course. Those final 4 or 5 turns were the difference there. What a good run that was. And this was the final. This is how it went down. This was the last win of the series of 4 races. And the Norwegians are victorious. The Swedes, silver medals this time out for them. And the United States of America on the podium. Little bit of a spare thought for the Canadians. Miss out on taking home some hardware. But what a run. What a day. What a competition. And there you go. Confirmation of how it went down. Both were won 3-1. And it is Norway that were victorious in the big final. The United States were victorious in the small final. So Norway, Sweden, and United States of America are your 1, 2, 3.